I will share with you as you start. That has been my prayer since we decided to do this from a few months ago. It
Mm-hmm.
is that first, God moves and allows us to touch the lives that it is intended to touch, that He allows the Holy Spirit to speak through me so that my words are appropriate, that I'm sharing exactly what is intended to be shared in this moment to allow His will to be. So I have tried very intentionally not to get in my head as I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
And to do what you mentioned, like, let's go with it. Let's let it, manifest into what he intends it to be. And we will
Mm-hmm.
touch and change the lives, including our own, as he wills it to be. So my
That's
mantra
incredible.
today, yeah, has been authenticity over perfection. So I want to show up as Tanya and take this faith step and show myself to the world, right?
Yes, yes. Oh,
So,
thank you, Tanya. This is so good. And I'm gonna leave that in as the intro, although I might
okay.
edit what I'm saying right now out. Tanya is a mom. She's a survivor. She is a coach. Whether I don't know if you've announced it yet, but I'm announcing it if that's okay.
It's okay.
Good, good. And I, from the first moment I met you, knew I wanted to have and share this space with you because your ability to have self-love, to be connected to how's God's will playing out in your life is very inspirational to me. And so
Mm.
I wanted to hear you talk more about it in whatever way you feel inspired to share today.
Oh, thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
amazing and a wonderful introduction. So thank you very much. I got the feels.
Woo! Yeah. What's speaking through your heart today? Feel free if you want to get on a soapbox and take us all there. We're here.
Okay.
We're
Okay.
here.
I might take you up on that. Really, Rachel, so to kind of anchor back to our first meeting, I am a believer that nothing is accidental, nothing is coincidental. I am a believer that my life and my steps are ordered according to God's will. And meeting you, a very close friend actually gifted me an opportunity to meet you, and I just knew I needed to do it. It was something I hadn't done before, and I was like, oh, I'll try this. And coming away from our first conversation, I was like, oh, that felt great. And oh, I felt seen. And oh, I felt heard. And I too was inspired and motivated and encouraged. And I shared with you then that I know I am supposed to share my story. My testimony is not for just me. I know that I'm supposed to share it, and I didn't know exactly how. And several things that you said to me in that first meeting, one of them was, who do you see that's living out or demonstrating what you envision, how you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was able to give you like one name, but it made me start to think about more or made me pay more attention to
Mm-hmm.
the people
Mm-hmm.
around me. Something I really want people to understand is that those, I'm going to use the word heroes, or those
Yes.
strong people that we see, those people that we see that we kind of say, oh, they're so awesome, they're so great. Something that I've learned over time is that doesn't happen by accident. That doesn't happen without challenges, struggle, trials, those things, and people who evolve and become people that we admire and we look at, and they have characteristics that we think are so strong, or they have those things were created in them through their life experiences. And so I think it's important that we pause to recognize that in ourselves, because it's very easy to say, oh, they're better than me, or oh, their circumstances different, or oh, I could never do that. Guilty of telling myself all of those things at some point in my life, but it's not true, right? Like what you're going through in your life is shaping you, and how it shapes you depends a lot on you and your perspective, right? So if you look at it as an opportunity to grow, to be transformed into a better version of yourself, even in the storm, even in the
Mhm.
fire, if
Mm.
your perspective is on the other side of this, yeah, this sucks right now, but I know I'm going to be better for it. The anchor for me in that is my faith, right? It is always
Mhm.
knowing that God's got me. He
Yes.
is protecting me. He is directing me. And even when I'm off course, or it doesn't always feel good, or I can't recognize it, He's still in control.
Mm.
So I want people to start looking inward, trusting your inner voice. And it's not easy, like to do. It's something you have to be very intentional about. I'd like to share, you mentioned that I am a survivor. I am a two-time cancer survivor, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2005 and breast cancer in 2019. And I think those lessons or those experiences in my life started to, I've always, even as a little girl, been very, I was very sassy. I always had like a lot of like in my head, oh, you're a bad, I don't know if we can say the A word, but a bad
Yeah,
A.
you can if you want to.
Okay, thank you. I am faith filled, but I cuss a little. So I just authenticity over perfection, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I've always kind of had this inner voice to say, "Oh, you're a badass. Like you're an awesome person. You are cool. You are smart." But I have found myself in times muting that voice because I felt like, oh, I wanted to be accepted, or oh, that's not appropriate, or oh, this person isn't going to like that. So I found myself kind of like quieting that voice. Never went away, it was always there, but I wouldn't always let it be heard, if that's,
Mm.
a great way to say it. And so having my first cancer diagnosis, I had to dig deep. I had never been really sick before. It was phenomenal in activating my prayer life, because when you don't know the answers and you don't now, you have to dig in. You got to dig deep.
Yes.
And I think that is probably one of the pivotal places that my prayer life changed. And I
Mm.
began to communicate more frequently, more often with God, and began to really understand, yeah, I've been around this whole time. I've been with you the whole time.
Yeah.
You just weren't paying attention, right? Then becoming a mom in the middle. So in 2007, my son was born. And that also gave me this other like perspective of, that mama bear, like I'm protecting him. I was very protective over what I wanted him to think family was about, what I wanted him to know about relationships, how I wanted my relationship to be with them, all of these things. Because as a single mom, there's a lot of stuff out there that tells you, oh, he's at risk for this. He's at risk for, oh,
Oh,
you can't do because you're a single mom. There's a lot of
wow.
noise around that
Mm-hmm.
experience. But I knew, one, he was my blessing, because when my chemo ended in 2005, the doctors were like, oh, well, you might be able to have kids, but we're not sure. We tried to protect your ovaries, but
Wow.
we don't know till you try. And I was still very young, so I
Yeah.
wasn't trying,
Right.
but I obviously was participating.
Yeah.
so,
I
um,
love it.
and so my blessing, right, for my obedience and my faith during my first cancer diagnosis and treatment, I believe was my son.
Mhm.
And though it was not the ideal situation, right, it didn't appear to be the ideal situation in the moment, I still knew, well, this is going to be tough, but God's got me. So the
Mhm.
noise about, oh, young Black males usually speak later than other children. They read later than other children. I dismissed that immediately. I would not accept it. I would not receive it. And my son was reading at 3. And when I say
Wow.
reading, he had a word wall in our house that we put words on, and it just grew and grew and grew because no matter what the noise is, and that noise can be coming from family, it can be coming from society, it can be coming from sometimes yourself, right? You have to learn how to quiet it and know your truth, know who you
Mm-hmm.
are, believe in who you are. So, having this beautiful young man now, I can't call him my baby anymore because he's way taller than me. And as most teenagers, thinks he's way smarter than me too.
Yeah.
But he is such a joy in my life and helped me to really think about those parts of me that I wanted to nurture and those parts of me that I wanted to improve or change. So I want people to know that it's okay not to be perfect.
Hmm.
And I want people to know that it is okay to start over, give yourself some grace. So I feel like I talked a lot, Rachel. So I'm going to pause.
Yeah.
I'll take a
That's
break.
okay. It's so good. And also for anyone listening, I just want to say right now, can you see why she needs her own show? Because each one of these sentences could be a whole hour-long episode that we would all be, yes, tell us more. Tell us more. Teach me, coach me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mm, yeah. You one I was taking notes because as I
Thank you.
said, there's
Good.
so many things that I could go with. And one of the things that I love is I don't know if it was ever a conscious choice, but you made the choice not to be a victim and
Mm,
to lean in to through prayer and through reflection and love and introspection, find your way at every opportunity. And also, it's not just not being a victim, but you didn't play out what somebody else's story would be for you as someone healing through cancer, as a single mom, and what your son's story would be.
mm,
And you, both of your stories are still evolving, of course. And
mhm,
it's such a inspiration too, because it's, even though there might be a one moment choice of, okay, I'm not a victim, or I'm writing my own story, the outside world doesn't stop telling you the messages it wants to tell you, even as your faith is deepened or you are walking the path. There's still going to be whoever that could have a contrasting point of view.
that is so true. I think even more so when you connect to who you are and how
Mm-hmm.
you define yourself, I think sometimes the noise gets louder, right? And I think it is, you have to be very intentional about, and I'm going to use the term that everybody's using right now. And I think it's a great term. I feel like I want to call it something else, but like
Yeah.
you have to be very intentional about your self care. And
Mm.
I want, like, I think you and I, when we spoke earlier this year, we talked about, I told you I was trying a daily 3 for
Yes.
myself. And that evolved out of a few years ago. I was like, my resolution for the year was going to be intentionality, being very
Mm-hmm.
intentional in what I was doing. And then last year it was taking that and then trying something new, growing myself. And then this
Mm.
year, I was like, this is the year of 50 for me, and I am celebrating all year. So happy birthday to me.
Fabulous 50.
Yes, and I'm embracing it, right? Because one, not only in my own life, there were plenty of opportunities where my story could have ended and I not
Right.
reached 50, but I'm still
Yes.
here. So I know there's
Right.
still work for me to do. And then also loved ones and friends and even people I don't know who didn't reach this milestone, right?
Mhm.
So it is an
Mhm.
honor and I am embracing it and so excited about it. So my daily three are meditation, prayer. That's number one. Number two, movement, activity. So get my body moving, get out. I know that is something that is so critical and so important for my body, and I have to do it. And it allows me not just to physically open up and move and change, but also mentally. Because a lot of times I'm walking while my son is in swimming. So it's time
Mhm.
alone, time to just connect with myself too, right? And then, oh, let me go back through. Oh, try something new. So
Every
try
day you
something
try
new.
something new?
Not
Or
every
most
day.
days? Okay.
I try to try something new at least once a month, and that is specifically
Mm.
connected to turning 50 this year, trying to do something new that I haven't done. And I share that because I want to say the beginning of the year was, easy. January was good. February was great. March was even, good too. I was on track. I was taking it, writing it down. And then, just as you mentioned, life doesn't stop. The
Mm.
noise doesn't stop, right?
Mhm.
And I received some news about my physical health myself, but I also had some things going on within my family, which would have been very easy for me to say, let me
Yeah.
pause. Let me put this on the back burner. It's always myself that I put on the back burner first because another part of me that I've learned is I feel joy in nurturing others and helping others, right?
Mhm.
The lesson I've learned is I can't do that at the expense of myself anymore,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So, and I even had a moment where I was like, oh, I'm dealing with this new thing with myself physically, with my health. Oh, I might need to postpone this interview with Rachel. I might need to
Mm.
put that on the back burner.
Mhm.
And that voice inside of me that was reminding me you can't sacrifice yourself for others
Mm.
also
Mm.
said to me, your dreams, goals, purpose have been on hold
Mm.
long enough.
Mm.
When I met with you to talk about this interview, I said to you, this is a faith step for me. This is me
Mm.
stepping out, sharing my story, trusting God to use it in the way it needs to be used, and then direct my path through it to the next step, to the next place. And fear caught me for just like a half a second to say, maybe you shouldn't do that. You don't know what's going to happen. This could be bad and this could be terrible and blah blah blah. But I had to remember I survived cancer twice. I am raising the most amazing young man. He is like all A's. He is a fantastic swim. Like, and I'm a tough cookie, right?
Yeah.
So finding things that allow you to quiet the noise for me is going out into my garden. And so for May, my something new was planting a new plant that I had never planted before. So I'm watching it, grow and I'm waiting for it to bloom in a few weeks. Like, but that was the something new. Gardening wasn't new, but this item was something new, right? I had to take some time off in April, so I wasn't exercising as much, but I've got the all clear from my doctors and I'm trying to get myself back on schedule because I know how important movement is, exercise
Mhm.
is for me.
Mhm.
So I would challenge people to start small, right?
I'm so excited to tell you about the newly released Talk to the Trees, written by myself, Rachel Strivelli, psychic. Talk to the Trees is a short book about connecting to the wisdom of the trees, actually, literally talking to them, metaphorically talking to them, learning from the wisdom of these elder beings. What can we gain from them in terms of resilience, how to get through hard times, how to approach the times that we're in? What do trees know about love, family, and connection, and dealing with hardships of life? You can buy it at the places linked below. I would love it if you check it out, share it with a friend, buy it for a friend, and spread the word.
Like, big changes happen through a series of small things, right? It doesn't have to be one big, oh, I'm no longer going to be a victim. I'm going to go out and change the world.
Right.
That's setting yourself up for a bigger battle than may be necessary, right? Like,
Mhm.
take it from somebody who's done it before, right?
I'm so excited to tell you about the newly released Talk to the Trees, written by Rachel Strivelli, psychic. Talk to the Trees is a short book about connecting to the wisdom of the trees, literally talking to them, metaphorically talking, learning from what can we gain from them, how to approach the times that we're in. What do trees know about family connection and dealing with hardships of life? You can buy it at the places linked below. I would love it if you check it out, share it with a friend, and spread the word.
And keep in mind that most of the time when you are trying to grow in yourself, there are multiple areas where that has to happen. For me, it
Mm,
is in my job. I have a full-time job, and not only
mm,
am I having to balance what's expected of me in my current role because I aspire to be promoted, to grow, right? Have more impact. I'm also
mm,
being challenged to take on more stuff, right?
mm-hmm,
So I got to remember, okay, in order to show up there, in order to show up as a mom, in order to show up for my amazing friend group, right?
mm,
How do I keep the wheels going? And it's
mm-hmm,
so in January, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start with three things, three little things.
mm-hmm,
And in April, when I didn't get to do those three things, I chose show yourself some grace, right? You can always start over. It doesn't mean it is going to be perfect. Authenticity over perfection, right? You want to show up as who you intend to be in this world. And that doesn't have to be done in a perfect way. Imperfection
mm-hmm,
is more interesting than perfection because you know what to expect. So,
mm-hmm.
just give yourself grace and take your time out when you need it, and then get back on track when you feel ready.
Mm. We might need to make a track of you saying that just so people can listen to that little snippet on a regular basis, because it's so true. Any habit that I've had, I can't think of one that I made a decision, I'm going to do this, and then everything unfolded perfectly. Wow, now I did that habit just because I committed.
Right.
There's always a moment where something happens, and maybe I stop it for a week or 2 weeks
Hmm.
or 3 days, and that, okay, let me have grace, let me re-engage. and and I 100% agree with you on the simplicity of it. Uh, I think it's easy to think, oh, well, a small change, how will that really make an impact when I see a big problem and I want a big solution?
Hmm.
But the small change, I mean, that's how water works, wearing away at the
Yes,
stone day after day,
yes,
day after day.
yes.
That's how kids get things nagging us day after day, day after day.
Yeah.
Fine, you can have the thing you won't stop
Yes.
asking me about.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It
and
is. Go ahead, Aisha. I'm
I
sorry.
was thinking, sometimes friendship, I mean, sometimes we make instant friends, and yet a
Hmm.
lot of times it's that frequency of the connection, the smiles, the laugh, the moments. And you wake up 3 years later and you think, this person is essential to my life.
Yes.
But it wasn't, and sometimes there's bigger moments that make that happen. So there's so many examples of this small changes that add up to this richness and to achieving the thing you want. And we only have a little bit more time, so I'm gonna
Okay,
quickly wrap up, but it's
perfect.
also, I feel, maybe a teaser that people can know, okay, I want to hear more of what Tanya's saying. I want to hear more of
Awesome.
moving
Yeah.
past that fear and what happens next, and all of the juicy moments of you sharing your wisdom, because it I feel nourished, and that you spoke over
Oh,
me and everyone listening today.
thank you. Thank you. I so appreciate the honor and the privilege. Thank you for nudging me along, right?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, and I just want to just start, just start.
Mm,
Pick, pick one thing. It doesn't even have to be three things. Just start
mhm.
and,
Mm,
and be open to. I love your analogy with water, because if we also think about how water, like, it knows how to bend and flow and to move, right? So you may start out in one place and you may find success in that thing, but we have to know that as we grow and as
mhm.
we reach the milestone, it doesn't mean it's smooth sailing from there. It means, oh, now you got to up the ante, right? Now you
Mhm.
gotta, yeah, right? You gotta dig in, because if we are blessed with the opportunity to wake up every day, to have life every day, then our goal should be to be better people in that, totally, like completely, like in every space in our lives, right? And how we nurture, how we love, and what we give and put out into the world, how we impact those around us,
Mhm.
and those we may not know either, right? The little things, our vibrations are
Mhm.
touching people that we may never know. So
Yes.
intentionality in that is
Mm.
important. It starts here. It starts inside of you.
Mhm. Mm. Yeah, that's so good. Thank you. If if people want to connect with you, I'll put it below in the description. But
Yes.
is there a way that you would want them to connect with you if they say, "Hey, I want to stay in your circle," or
Yeah.
send you my questions if they have a
Yes.
question?
So yes, I will tell you really quickly. You
Okay,
charged me with that when we were talking. So I would, if people would like to start, I'm going to start with email.
perfect.
And the email is lose hope mail, LOUSHOPEMAIL @gmail.com. Very quickly, Lou is my grandmother's middle name. And coincidentally, when I was a little younger, a friend group of mine, a very close friend of mine, started calling me Lou, just as a nickname. She called me Tanya Lou, and then finally
Uh-huh.
Tanya dropped off, and I was Lou for a period of time. And later, I found out it was my grandmother's name, middle name. So it really touched me in a special place. And hope, I am a hope-filled person for so many reasons and examples I can give in my life, but the crux of my faith is built around hope, right? For
Mhm.
what's to come. And the other side of it is during my most recent battle with cancer, I was afforded the ability to start taking photographs of flowers in my own garden.
Mm,
And so I aspire to be able to share those images with people to give them hope. So,
mm,
hence lose hope mail
that
at
is beautiful.
gmail.com.
Mm, wonderful. Thank you so much for inspiring us all with hope today.
Mm,
And you know
thank
how
you.
to reach Tanya, and just think of how good you feel if you'll reach out and stay connected. I am a psychic who helps people in business who understands business. What I can tell you is if there are 5 things or 6 things that you're considering doing in your business and you wish you knew which ones not to do, together we can tune in and eradicate 3 to 5 of those. So you only have 1 or 2 things to focus on. Imagine the massive amount of time and energy and wondering this could save you. If you could just commit to the thing because you know that this is what's totally aligned with you and your business right now and this time, that moves you forward. That gives you so much action to pour into your business. Now, if you listen, there's a playlist. You can look at other sessions that clients have had, and you'll notice time and time again, they get 1 to 2 to 3 specific areas that are green lights for them to work on in their business. Things that they can really focus on that are definitely going to help them. Occasionally, they also get the clarity on don't do these other things. It's not going to work for you. It's not in your best interest right now. And how beautiful is it in this time and world of so many choices, so many options, to already have it narrowed down to these are things to focus on. These are things that are not going to work for you. And to have that extra bit of confidence, that stamp of approval saying, this also feels internally aligned. So not only are you thinking it, but this is what I'm reading from your energy field, from spirit, from the infinite field of possibilities that is maximally aligned for your potential. That's what makes life and business so much fun. I am really looking forward to our first session together. May it be the first of many. Go ahead. There's the booking link below. See you soon. Thank you again for all that you shared. And I look forward to the next time we do this again.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much, Rachel.
You too.